Hello YouTube, and welcome to another virtual world tutorial. In this mini series we're going to be making and playing an Unreal Tournament 4 map. This is the second video in a tutorial series on UT4 map making. This tutorial will be covering the basics of BSP brushes. Let's get started. First of all, when the editor loads up, you're going to want to come to File up here and go to New Level. Choose the default one. As you can see, it's loaded up a skybox, a player start, and some sunlight, and a default mesh. Click on the mesh to highlight it, then press delete. We don't need that anymore. Come over to your geometry, click on geometry, click on perspective to get your orthographic top view. Use the scroll wheel to zoom out. Grab the box with the left mouse button and drag it onto your scene. Zoom in with the scroll wheel. If you come to brush settings, we'll make the X 1024. We'll make the Y 1024. We'll make the Z, or the Z for Americans out there, we'll make the Z 256. If we go to our left view, we should see it's just sitting above the grid. Bring it up. Come to build. Just select build geometry only. Now if we go back to our perspective, you can see we have a basic brush. BSP stands for Binary Space Partition. The brushes can either be additive or subtractive. You can add brushes to the world to create primitive shapes, and you can also subtract from additives using the subtract brush to make hollow or to carve out structures using primitive shapes. Then what we do, we'll go to our perspective view, we'll go to the left, then we'll come up here to our modes and click geometry editing. Make sure edit is selected up here. We'll highlight the first two top vertices. Well, it should highlight all four. We'll just go to our top view to make sure it has done. You can see they're all highlighted here. We'll switch back to left. It's worth noting that if you hold down the Alt key and move, drag, if you hold down the Alt key and drag, it will copy that selected item, that selected actor. In this case we have a brush, so if we move it up, it's created as another actor. Get the brush to match. Drag it up slightly. We'll click build, just so we know where we are. Build geometry. We'll go to our modes tool, geometry editing. Make sure edit is selected, and we'll highlight these four. Bring them in a bit, set these four. Bring that in a bit. Go to our top view. Now we'll highlight these two. Move that in a little bit, then highlight these two by dragging the mouse, highlighting them. Now if we go back to perspective. Then what you're going to want to do is where it says brush type, under brush settings, you click where it says additive, get the drop down box and make it a subtractive. Then hopefully if we go back to build and do geometry, we should have a hollow space to run around in. There you go. As you can see, we now have our hollow space. It's worth noting that whatever geometry you're bringing in, there's two options down the bottom, add and subtract. Initially by default it's set to the add geometry placement, but you can choose subtractive if you like. We'll choose a box, we'll add another box, we'll go to our scale tool, we'll set it to 1, we'll click on our scale tool up there, then click back on our move tool, click on left under orthographic view, drag the brush down, build geometry. Now since we've created an additive brush, we'll be able to subtract from it now using the cylinder. So we're going to make a hole in our floor. We're going to carve a hole in the new cube we've just created. So if we go to subtractive, click on subtract, drag a cylinder out, we'll turn off snap scaling, but we'll turn on the scaling tool, shrink it down just a little bit, click on our move tool. Now we want to move our brush up just a little bit so it encompasses the hollow cube, so we'll be able to punch a hole right through. Now if we go to build, we'll build geometry only, come back to our perspective, you can see it's now punched a hole in our floor. With brushes you have the property panel on the right, you can change its location here, you can change the rotation, you can change the scale, but I recommend you change the scale here under brush settings on the X, Y and Z axis or Z. What you can do is you can hollow out a brush. I'll just quickly show you that. So if we choose a box under geometry, bring it in, and let's call that 1024 by 1024 by 256. Then check this box down here which says hollow. Then ask you for the wall thickness. We'll say 16. We'll just line it up properly in our orthographic view. Now if we go back to build geometry, and then click on perspective. Sorry, I made a mistake there. a subtractive brush. So make sure it's set to additive. I want it to be additive. From perspective, go back to top, down to left. Move across to the side. Back to build geometry. Perspective. As you can see, we now have a new box. If we go inside of it, it should be hollow. If you wanted to carve out a space like a door, first of all, go up to the top view, holding Alt, we drag out another box. We'll make sure it sits flush next to this box. That'll do. Go to build geometry. Now if we look in perspective, we should see two boxes together. There's no doorway in between them. What you want to do then is go to perspective, go to the top, click on box, make sure it's selected to subtractive brush, drag in a box. I will make this a 64. We'll make this 196. This is now a playable area. It's worth noting that all your brushes, your lights, your player styles, anything you add to the map will be in your world outliner over here. So you can easily find a part of your level. If you double click on it, it'll take you to that item, the actor. Go back to build geometry, and let's take a look at our perspective view. That's an additive brush. We'll change that to subtractive. Quickly hit build again. As you can see, we have a doorway. There are 7 basic primitive shapes of BSP brushes. You have a box, a cone, cylinder, curved stairs, linear stairs, spiral stair, and a sphere. If you wanted a sphere, you could bring that in. Then where it says tessellation, if you increase the number, the smoother the sphere becomes. If you put up to say 5, and rebuild geometry, take a little while. That's done, and that is achieved by using tessellation, increase or decrease to whatever you like. It's worth noting, the more you increase it, the slower your map will run, so you want to keep it on about 4 or 5, I reckon. You can also change the brush shape here. If you already have a brush placed down and you want to change the type of brush it is, you click on brush shape. You have all the different brushes here, so we could change it to a cube. Then click build again, get a build geometry. Now you can see it's just changed into a cube. Go ahead and delete that. Well, thank you for watching, YouTube. That's it for this tutorial video on Unreal Tournament 4. You should now have a better understanding of how to use BSP brushes. Until next time, stay tuned. Audio Jungle.